have that, but I always sang. And because my family thought I was good at singing, they took me out to auditions and things.
Why didn't you get that part?
Because Diana Ross wanted it. At that time, she was a huge star, and she wanted to play Dorothy.
Simple as that.
It was just that simple.
Stephanie Mills is 68. Try not to gasp when you see her today. She's still captivating crowds with that incredible voice. But behind her, success is a story full of triumph and heartbreak. From losing her mother as a child to battling depression while topping the charts, Stephanie's journey hasn't been easy.
Of her life, her son Farad J. Mills, and Stephanie's manager and Farad's father figure, Aunt Harris.
Yes.
This is family. This is family.
She clashed with managers, feuded with Patti LaBelle, and faced relentless rumors about her bond with Michael Jackson.
Ways. He wanted to be the biggest star in the world, and he wanted to associate with certain people that I didn't want to associate with.
Even as critics called her difficult, she stayed true to her faith and her music. Through failed marriages, health struggles, and industry pressure, she kept going. And she's still not done.
Brooklyn.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York, Bedford-Stuyvesant.
Do or die, Bed-Stuy.
Do or die, Bed-Stuy, yes!
Stephanie's story started in church. As a little girl, she stood in front of the church crowd and sang her heart out. People could see right away that this little girl had something special. Her voice was strong and full of emotion, even though she was still very young.
I was baptized at the age of 7 at Cornerstone Baptist Church, and yes, I started singing in church. That's the freest place to start.
By the time she was 9 years old, Stephanie was already surprising people with how powerful her singing was. Grown-ups would sit and listen, amazed that such a big voice could come from such a small child. It was clear that she had a gift, and she used that gift to touch people's hearts through music. Stephanie Mills was born on August 22, 1957, in Brooklyn, New York. She was small in size, only 4 feet, 9 inches tall. But her talent was huge. Her sister saw early on that Stephanie could sing really well. She believed in her and started putting her in talent shows. Stephanie didn't disappoint. She kept getting better, and her voice became even stronger. When she was a teenager, she began performing at the Apollo Theater during amateur night. Now, that's a big deal. Many famous singers started there. And Stephanie didn't just go on stage once, she won 3 weeks in a row. That's how good she was. People cheered, clapped, and couldn't wait to see her again.
I have that, but I always sang. And because my family thought I was good at singing, they took me out to auditions and things. So that's how I got Maggie Flynn. I auditioned for it. Also with The Wiz, but I did not want to audition.
But Stephanie wasn't only a singer. She was also an actress. She got the chance to be on Broadway, which is where the biggest plays and musicals are performed. One of the biggest moments in her career was when she was chosen to play the lead role of Dorothy in The Wiz. She was still a teenager at the time, but she acted like a professional. Night after night, she gave her all on that stage, and people loved her for it. Her singing, especially when she performed the song Home, moved people to tears. That role changed her life forever and made her a star.
I don't think people really know that I won 6 weeks at the Apollo Theater.
Stephanie also had moments where she showed she cared a lot about how she looked on stage. One time, during a Broadway show, she didn't want to go on stage because her wig wasn't styled right. She refused to perform until it was fixed. The whole show had to stop because of it. Some people thought she was being difficult, but Stephanie believed that her image mattered. She wanted to look her best and feel confident when she was in front of an audience. It wasn't just about singing, it was also about presentation. That moment showed that she knew her worth and took her career seriously.
And then I did Maggie Flynn, on Broadway. That lasted about 9 months.
In 1975, when Stephanie was just 17 years old, she became a star on Broadway. She had already released a song called I Knew It Was Love, and a producer named Ken Harper heard it. He was impressed by her voice and asked her to audition for The Wiz. She did, and she got the part of Dorothy. It wasn't luck, she earned it.
Is it acting?
Oh, singing and performing live is my first love. But I don't really consider myself
But fame isn't always easy. After becoming famous, Stephanie started facing criticism. Some people didn't like the fact that she was playing Dorothy, a role that was once played by Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz. Stephanie even joked once, saying, "I thought Judy Garland might come back and slap me." But even though people talked, Stephanie didn't let it stop her. She stayed strong and kept doing her best. She didn't let the negative comments affect her performance or her spirit. That takes a lot of courage, especially for someone so young. Stephanie also had a painful past. One of the hardest things she went through was losing her mother when she was just a child. That kind of loss is very difficult. A mother is someone who gives love, care, and comfort. Growing up without that kind of support was very painful for her. It left a hole in her heart and made her childhood harder. But even with that pain, Stephanie kept going. She used music as a way to heal and express her feelings. That pain helped shape her voice into something even more powerful. As she got older, Stephanie faced more struggles, especially with her health. One major issue she dealt with was fibroids. These are growths in a woman's body that can cause a lot of pain. Sometimes they can even stop a person from doing normal things. For someone like Stephanie, who needed to perform and travel, fibroids were a big challenge. They made her feel weak and tired. She talked openly about them, letting people know what she was going through. She didn't try to hide her struggles. Instead, she showed others that even famous people go through hard times.
With the most powerful divas in music, Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight. Plus on the same show, the incomparable Stephanie Mills.
Stephanie also had public feuds during her career. One of the most well-known was with another singer, Patti LaBelle. In the 1980s, both of them were very popular. They had strong voices and bold personalities, and sometimes that caused problems. The media loved to talk about their arguments and disagreements. Fans picked sides, and the feud became a big topic in magazines and on TV. It seemed like people were more interested in the drama between them than the music they were making. That kind of attention can be hard, especially when you just want to be known for your talent. The reason for the feud was mostly about competition. Both singers were very good at what they did, but their styles were different. Stephanie had a smoother, more soulful sound, while Patti had a bigger, more dramatic way of singing. Because of these differences, people kept comparing them. This led to misunderstandings and hurt feelings. It wasn't always about hate. It was about the pressure of being compared all the time. That pressure made things tense between them. But after many years, they made peace and even showed respect for each other in public. Still, people never forgot about that rivalry. Another thing that made Stephanie stand out was her strong Christian faith. She talked about her religion often and said it was a big part of who she was. In the music world, not everyone shares the same beliefs. Many artists sing about things like partying, love, and heartbreak. But Stephanie didn't always agree with those topics. She believed music should send a positive message. Because of her views, some people in the industry felt uncomfortable around her. They thought she was too strict or too serious. But Stephanie didn't change. She stayed true to her beliefs, even if it meant standing alone. Some people thought she was out of touch with what was popular. They didn't understand why she spoke out against certain types of songs. But for Stephanie, it wasn't about being famous. It was about being honest and living the way she believed was right. She wanted her music to lift people up, not pull them down. Even when she faced backlash, she didn't back down. Her faith gave her strength, and her voice gave her power. That's what made her different from so many others. One big part of her life that always gets attention is her friendship with Michael Jackson. Yes, that Michael Jackson, the king of pop. Their story began long ago when Stephanie auditioned for the part of Dorothy in The Wiz. Even though she didn't get the part, Diana Ross got it. Stephanie didn't let it upset her. She once said, "I loved Diana Ross. God has a plan, and you get what you get. I'm never jealous of anybody." Those words showed she had a big heart and didn't hold grudges.
Because Diana Ross wanted it. At that time, she was a huge star, and she wanted to play Dorothy.
Simple as that.
It was just that simple.
You know,
After that, Stephanie and Michael Jackson became very close friends. They spent a lot of time together. Stephanie even joked once that every young black girl back then either had a crush on Michael or one of his brothers. Being with Michael, she said, felt like being in heaven. Their connection seemed strong, and they were often seen together, whether it was at events, in the studio, or just having private dinners. The media couldn't stop talking about them. Rumors started flying. Were they just good friends, or was there something more going on between them? Stephanie never said anything bad, and she kept things classy. But even so, people gossiped a lot about their friendship. Then came the 1980s, and Michael Jackson's career exploded. He became a worldwide superstar. Some people say that's when things started to change between him and Stephanie. She once said Michael started hanging around people she didn't like. Maybe she felt like she was being left behind. Or maybe their lives were just moving in different directions. What really made people talk was when Stephanie said in a radio interview that Michael looked unrecognizable. That comment hurt a lot of fans, and people close to Michael said her words hurt him deeply.
But ways. He wanted to be the biggest star in the world. And he wanted to associate with certain people that I didn't want to associate with.
Stephanie didn't just criticize Michael's appearance. She also talked about how the music industry treated black artists. She said the business often pressured people to change their looks and style. She believed this was part of why Michael changed. "They always told me I was too black," she said. "I think when Michael crossed over to pop, that's when he started to change." Her words were bold and full of emotion. But years later, after Michael died, Stephanie spoke more gently. She remembered their friendship with love and even recorded a tribute song for him. She defended him against lies and said their bond was special. Still, some fans believe there was more going on between them than she admitted. Stephanie has also had many problems with people she worked with, including her managers. While working on a national tour of the stage, play Your Arms, Too Short to Box with God, things behind the scenes were tense. Stephanie wanted things done her way. She was upset about costumes, demanded special treatment, and didn't want to share the spotlight with other performers during curtain calls. One of her co-stars even said, working with her was like hugging a porcupine, dangerous and painful. That says a lot about how hard it was for others to work with her. The drama continued when she had a serious falling out with her manager, Sid Seidenberg. Stephanie said he was hurting her career and taking her money. Things got so bad that they went to court. Both sides pointed fingers, and the fight damaged her reputation. It wasn't the last time she had trouble with a manager. There were also rumors that her professional relationship with another manager, Hiram Hicks, ended badly. He denied those stories, but fans and reporters kept talking. All these fights with managers made people think Stephanie was hard to work with.
This feeling so deep
Stephanie has also been outspoken about the problems black artists face in the music industry. She said that record labels often take advantage of them and don't treat them with the same respect as white artists. These statements started a lot of debates. Some people praised her for being brave and telling the truth. Others thought she was being too negative or unfair. Talking about race and the industry made many people uncomfortable, but Stephanie felt it was important to speak up. Her music also changed over time. In the 1980s and 90s, she moved away from her disco and R&B sound and started doing more gospel-style music. Some fans loved the new sound and thought it showed her growth as an artist. Others didn't like the change. They missed the old Stephanie and felt like she had left behind what made her famous. These mixed feelings from fans made it clear that her career was always full of strong opinions, both good and bad.
Of her life, her son Farad J. Mills, and Stephanie's manager and Farad's father figure, Aunt Harris.
Yes.
This is family. This is family.
Now let's talk about something that shows a very different side of Stephanie, her life as a mother. In 2001, she had a son named Farad. She was 45 years old at the time, and she said becoming a mother was the best thing that ever happened to her. Farad was born with Down syndrome, and Stephanie found out about it when she was just 3 months pregnant. But she didn't let that stop her from loving him completely. "This is my baby," she said. "We're going to rock this world together." And they did. Stephanie's love for Farad is deep and beautiful. She puts him before everything else. Even when she's traveling for work, she makes sure he's okay and feels loved. She uses her fame to speak out for other families with children who have special needs. She talks about how important love, patience, and kindness are. Stephanie and Farad even wrote a children's book together called The Adventures of Farad J. It's full of fun stories that teach kids about being kind and accepting everyone. Farad is proud of the book. When someone asked him about it, he smiled and said, "The name is The Adventures of Farad J." Stephanie laughed and said, "He's got more charm in his little finger than I have in my whole body." Even though Stephanie has had success, she's also had her share of heartbreak. She's been married 3 times, and none of the marriages lasted. One of her ex-husbands was Jeffrey Daniel from the R&B group Shalimar. When someone asked her if she really married another singer, she smiled and said, "Yes, Jeffrey Daniel of Shalimar." That answer showed her humor and grace. She doesn't hide from her past, but she doesn't let it weigh her down either.
The movies. And then after that, we started talking on the phone, and we dated for about 6 months, and then we got married.
After only 6 months?
After only 6 months, yeah.
Good Lord.
Stephanie has been married 3 times, and each marriage had its own story. Her first marriage started in a fun but surprising way. She said the man was a friend of hers for 9 years. One day, they decided to fly to Las Vegas and get married. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but things quickly changed. Stephanie laughed when talking about it later. She said the marriage didn't last long because her husband turned out to be a little bit crazy. She joked and said, "That's probably why we got divorced." It shows that sometimes even a long friendship doesn't mean a marriage will work. Stephanie was being honest and didn't try to make it sound perfect. She shared the truth with humor and grace. Her second husband, Michael Saunders, was very different. Stephanie had nice things to say about him. She called him a great husband, but this time she blamed herself for the marriage ending. She said, "It was me. I don't think I'm good at marriage." That was a very open and brave thing to say. Many people would blame the other person, but Stephanie looked at herself. She admitted that maybe she wasn't ready or didn't have the tools to make the relationship work. Both of these marriages were short, and Stephanie has said more than once, "I've been married 3 times." That simple sentence shows that love can be difficult, even for someone as successful as her. In 1983, something very painful happened to Stephanie. Her older brother died in a car accident. This loss broke her heart. she took a break from performing because she needed time to grieve. Losing a sibling is never easy, and for Stephanie, it left a deep hole in her life. Later on, she started to talk about her pain and how it affected her mind and heart. She said she had been dealing with depression since she was 35 years old. At first, she didn't even know what it was. It wasn't until she started talking to a psychiatrist that she began to understand what was happening to her. This shows how important it is to take care of our mental health, and Stephanie was brave to share her story. Even though Stephanie was famous and loved by many fans, she said there were times when she was very unhappy. She explained that during the best part of her career, when she was winning awards and performing a lot, she was crying behind the scenes. She said, "I was smiling on stage, but crying in my dressing room." This tells us that fame does not always mean happiness. The pressure from the music industry made her feel overwhelmed and alone. But she didn't give up. She worked hard to find balance, to heal, and to become stronger inside. Her story helps others understand that even successful people can struggle. Stephanie's career is full of amazing moments. She won many awards, including a Grammy for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance and an American Music Award. Her songs like I Have Learned to Respect the Power of Love and Home made her a star. She has made over 25 albums during her career. That's a big number, and each album shows how talented she is. People often call her the little girl with a big voice because her voice is so strong and beautiful. She has worked with big names like Teddy Pendergrass and Michael Jackson. She even recorded music with Teddy in Philadelphia, and they were planning to release a song together. Her voice touched people from all walks of life. Stephanie also acted in plays and movies. She starred as Dorothy in a revival of The Wiz. Even though the show didn't last long, people were impressed by her performance. In 1985, she sang a song called Bit by Bit for the movie Fletch. The song became popular and climbed the music charts. It showed that Stephanie could do more than one kind of music. She could sing R&B, pop, and even dance music. Her talent wasn't limited to just one area. In 1986, Stephanie had one of her biggest career moments. Her song, I Have Learned to Respect the Power of Love, went to #1 on the R&B charts. This was a huge success for her. In 1987, she released an album called If I Were Your Woman, which had many hit songs like The Comfort of a Man. She worked with Angela Winbush on another song called Something in the Way You Make Me Feel, and that song became a platinum hit. This showed that she wasn't just lucky, she was truly talented and worked hard to keep going. She continued to release albums. In 1992, she came out with Something Real, and in 1993, she made a Christmas album. That same year, she returned to The Wiz, but the show didn't last long. In 1994, she made a gospel album called Personal Inspiration. This album showed her love for gospel music and touched many people. It was personal, real, and spiritual. Stephanie used music to share her heart and her faith. In 2015, Stephanie received a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Soul Train Awards. She performed live and proved that she still had one of the best voices in the business. Even after 40 years in the industry, she was still able to perform better than some younger singers. Her net worth is around $1.5 million. That's amazing for someone who came from Brooklyn and built her life from hard work and talent. She is now in her 60s, but she's still performing and taking on new projects. Stephanie has been going on tours across the country. Her Feel the Fire tour has been a big hit. Fans love her live shows, and she gives them everything she has. She is also acting in a movie called Pride. In the film, she plays a woman with many secrets and struggles. This is a big step for Stephanie as she takes on new roles outside of music. People are also excited because there may be a movie about her life coming soon. She is also working on writing her life story in a book. But Stephanie isn't just focused on herself. She helps others too. She mentors young artists and speaks out about important issues, especially those that affect Black communities. She started her own foundation called 444 for Love, which supports families with children who have special needs. She also talks to young girls, teaching them about love and respect. Many of these girls have never been shown real love, so Stephanie gives them hope